Hi, hi, Yon. Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone. This is Zeeshan Ashfaq, and I'm responsible for the World Wind Energy Association's work in Pakistan. So today, I'll be speaking on rather a newer topic to me, that is, small-scale wind power generation in Pakistan. Actually, my work is more focused on utility scale or large commercial wind projects, that have been operating in Pakistan. And, our work in Pakistan is mainly, regarding the larger projects. So today I'll be discussing mainly the drivers of small wind energy in Pakistan and the barriers to the growth of small wind power in Pakistan. Before moving on towards the barriers and the drivers, it would be uh, imperative to have a look at the map of Pakistan and see where the wind resource is available. So if you look at your screens, you will see the area and which is yellow, brown, orange, and red in color is mainly the area where you can generate wind power in Pakistan. And you know uh, compared to solar, solar in Pakistan is can solar power can be generated everywhere in Pakistan, whereas wind is limited to certain pockets. And even looking at this map, you will see this map is mainly for larger wind power projects, but still you can see that you can generate small scale you can basically generate energy from small wind power turbines close or within those areas which are in yellow, orange, and red in color, red being the best resource available. So now let me discuss what are the drivers to the growth of small wind in Pakistan. Number one is the rural electrification. At the moment, 27% of the population in Pakistan is unelectrified, and that translates into 32,000 villages. And out of those 32,000 villages, there are 5,000 villages where you know generating electricity using small wind is more feasible than generating power by using solar PV. So, and those villages are mainly in the south of Pakistan, particularly in Sindh and Balochistan provinces. And the second driver is the net metering regime, which has been in place since 2015. The growth in net metering, the growth of net metering in Pakistan has been quite slow. So far, we have more than 2,500 net meters installed in Pakistan, but most of them are linked to solar PV, and we don't have a single net meter installed where the power is being generated using small or micro events. But the potential is there, and it could be a driver uh, in certain areas where wind potential is far better than solar PV. And another driver is captive power projects. At the moment, around 2,000 megawatts of electricity is being generated in captive terms. And that most of that power is basically coming from burning fossil fuels. It is from large diesel generators or some similar kind of arrangement. Another driver is having these corporate power purchase agreements. In Pakistan, the market for corporate power purchase corporate PPAs is is on the rise, and we see every day another PPA being signed, but it is mainly linked to solar PV. But if right environment is provided to small wind, there can be increase in corporate PPAs for wind, small wind projects. And another driver is the higher electricity prices in Pakistan. In the last 1 year, the current government has increased electricity prices thrice. So, that is mainly due to the capacity additions by the previous government linked to coal power projects and also LNG based projects that have resulted in increase of electricity. And now it is literally becoming uh, you know it is basically becoming very difficult for poor population to afford the electricity at such higher rates. So now these are some of the drivers which could basically stimulate or provide impetus to the growth of small wind market in Pakistan, which is at the moment non-existent. And these are some of the barriers that are basically hindering the growth of small wind power generation in Pakistan. First and the foremost one is lack of awareness. If we talk about, I showed you the map of wind resource in Pakistan. If you go to the areas where wind resource is available in abundance, if you talk to people about this, using or putting up small wind turbines and generating electricity, you will hardly see anybody thinking about that or even talking about that. So there is a serious lack of awareness when it comes to using small wind turbines for power generation. And another barrier is the limited support from the government and also from the development partners. The as I've already told you, the net metering regime is there. The government is promoting distributed generation, but that is mainly focused on solar, which is available in abundance, and you can generate solar. You can generate electricity using solar literally everywhere in Pakistan, whereas for wind, as it is confined to certain areas, and you know uh, it is confined to certain areas, therefore the government is more inclined towards generating electricity from solar when it comes to distributed generation. And uh, to, at the same time, development partners are also more focused on the distributed generation through solar. So these are some of the reasons and that have been hindering the growth of small wind in Pakistan. Another important point is capital intensity. I was talking to a vendor who provides solutions regarding small wind turbines, and I was comparing the cost. So when I compared it to the cost of solar PV in Pakistan for 5 kilowatt system, the price of micro or small wind was more than double uh, than that of the solar power system. So this kind of capital expenditure in the beginning of installing a plant is also a barrier that is basically stopping the small wind from uh, going up in Pakistan. Another barrier is lack of financing. Uh, State Bank of Pakistan has a financing mechanism in place for large utility scale renewable energy projects, also for smaller projects and also for business to business projects. But the problem is, I spoke to a couple of banks regarding installing micro wind turbines in Pakistan. I had an inquiry from someone in Sindh. That person is based in Hyderabad, and he wanted to install wind turbine on on in an industrial area where he could basically power his industrial unit using small wind turbines. But the problem was, banks were literally not interested financing the project, just because small wind is not that popular in Pakistan. And also, we don't see any projects or any pilot projects installed from where the banks can see and basically provide financing for those projects. Moving forward, I would say that there is a need for additional support, particularly from the government and also from the development partners. As Mike mentioned the previous presentation, that certain incentives are prerequisite in order to scale up small wind deployment in various parts of the world. Therefore, government, provincial governments, especially where most of the villages that are unelectrified and where the wind potential is better than solar, those governments need to come up with a dedicated framework, and that must also include a support mechanism for community level renewable energy generation using small wind turbines. We don't have any kind of feed-in tariff for small wind turbines. There could be a possibility that along with the dedicated framework, the provincial governments come up with a feed-in tariff in the beginning to support uh, this small wind segment, because feed tariff has been quite successful in scaling up renewable energy generation in many parts of the world. And then certain targets can be set for small wind power generation, and at the same time development partners, they can build capacities, develop capacities of the provincial officials who are linked to renewable energy generation. And basically with that kind of capacity development on small wind, they can be made more aware of the application of on the application of small wind. And then if they are if their capacities are built, then eventually it would favor the province, in the sense that they will be looking at different parts of the province where electricity can be generated using the small wind. So I think that's it from my side. My presentation was more a general one, because I'm not in much into this subject. But eventually, with the passage of time, if we start something regarding that in Pakistan, obviously we'll be having a detailed look and see how we can basically support small wind market in Pakistan. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, thank you, Sisham, for sharing your insights on the potential for small wind. I think it's a good timing now to do some lobbying in Pakistan because the wind energy is growing there. So I think most of the barriers can be overcome if we do the right lobbying there.